Hello students, welcome to your science class. I hope all of you are following your classes very well till now. So, we are learning chapter 9, the living organisms, characteristics and habitats of your NCERT science textbook. Students, do you know elephants are the only animals that can't jump? A snail can sleep for 3 years continuously. Slugs usually have four noses. That means, why am I saying all these science facts? That means we do not know many facts about several living organisms that we see around us. Nature is so beautiful and wonderful, filled with several living and non-living things which makes this planet unique. Let us begin today's class. Let us recall what we have learned till now. In the introduction to this chapter, we understood what is nature, living organisms, non-living organisms, etc. Then we learned about various living beings and their living places by doing an activity. We learned about different types of habitats on Earth and few adaptations seen in the living organisms that live and grow in that particular place. In a journey through different habitats, we learned what are terrestrial habitats and aquatic habitats. We have seen in detail about few terrestrial habitats like deserts, mountain regions and grasslands. In the previous class, we also learned about an aquatic habitat, that is an ocean. Today also, let us have a look at few more aquatic habitats. Let us once again recall what is an ocean. Oceans are the large water bodies that cover a large area between the continents. They are so big that they even join small seas together. They accommodate an infinity number of species of various aquatic living organisms. Today, in some aquatic habitats, we are learning ponds and lakes. Like we discussed the examples of an aquatic habitat, oceans, seas, rivers, ponds, lakes, etc. all are a variety of aquatic habitats. Let us learn what is a pond. A pond is also a water body that is much smaller than a sea, in fact, which is much smaller than a lake that is created naturally or it can be man-made. It may also arise as a consequence of a floodplain in a river system. That means the river overflows onto the land during floods and leaves back forming a pond. The ponds are not so deep. They are usually shallow and may accommodate few aquatic plants and animals. Now let us learn what is a lake. A lake is also a water body or an area filled with water and is surrounded by land. A lake is comparatively bigger than a pond. Lakes also cover a huge surface on earth, but they lie on land and are not part of an ocean. The huge lakes also play a key role in balancing the ecosystem and it inhabits a number of aquatic plant and animal species. That means many number of aquatic plants and animal species live in lakes. Students, have you seen plants that grow in ponds, lakes, rivers, etc.? Have you ever observed a lotus plant or a water lily? How are its leaves, stems? Did you see them rooting inside the land? Can these type of plants grow naturally on land like other trees? If not, why? Why? Because these are aquatic plants and they adapted themselves to grow only in water bodies. If you observe few water plants or aquatic plants, they have their roots fixed in the soil below the water. Most of the plant body seems to be growing and floating on the water surface. Some are completely submerged and their leaves and stems are present inside the water. And some have floating roots which are not usually fixed into the soil. These are the kind of adaptations seen in aquatic plants to survive in the water bodies. If you observe the image properly, in terrestrial plants, we learned that roots play an important role in absorption of water and nutrients from the soil. They are completely present on land with free exchange of air. The terrestrial plants are strong, large and bushy, and they are rooted into the soil, whereas the aquatic plants' roots are much reduced in size comparatively, and their main function is to not only absorb nutrients from water but also to hold the plant in position, because the water may not be always stagnant. We may see sometimes the water running or rushing during floods or other reasons. If you observe the image, you can understand different kinds of plants based upon their roots and position on land and in water. First, you see upland plants. These are completely terrestrial plants with roots fixed into the soil. Next, shoreland plants and emergent plants and also few floating plants are found in mangroves. They grow in estuarine waters. The submerged plants lie and grow completely inside the water bodies and are weak and have tender stems. Shoreland, emergent, floating and submerged type of plants fall into the category of aquatic plants. Coming to the body structure of aquatic plants, they have long stems, which are usually light and hollow. These long stems help the plant to grow up on the surface of the water, and the leaves and flowers of the plant float on the surface. This is not in the case of submerged plants, which have their entire plant body completely present inside the water only. Here in the image, you can see the picture of submerged aquatic plants. The entire plant lies inside the water. Some of them which have narrow and thin ribbon-like leaves. And on strong water currents, they usually bend and avoid the stem from breakage. The leaves of these plants are not only clumsy, they are free and divided, giving space for the water to flow through them without damaging them. You can see here the image of lotus flowers which have broadened leaves floating on the surface water, and they are highly divided to avoid damage in case of running waters. Coming to the animals. What is the most common animal you can remember of when thinking about a pond or a lake? Yes, we all remember a frog. A frog is an amphibian. That means it can live both on land as well as in water. What kind of adaptations did you notice in frog to survive on both land and also in the water? The adaptations we see are: a frog has a strong back. This helps it to leap and catch its prey. If you observe the feet of a frog, they are webbed feet, which help them to swim in the water. To have some knowledge about living organisms, their characteristics and habitats, we discussed only few of the plants and animals and have considered a few habitats only for understanding. The more and more we go higher in our standards, we will learn a lot more interesting concepts and facts about nature. In chapter 7, Getting to Know Plants, you might have understood and prepared a herbarium. Imagine if you were asked to press all variety of plants present on earth on your herbariums. Is it possible? We cannot even stock them up. That means a large variety of plants and n number of animal species live and grow on earth, adapting themselves suitable to its habitat conditions. So this is how we completed the journey through different habitats. We will continue this chapter in the next class. Thank you.